Street Fighter VI, developed and produced by Capcom, incorporates a blend of two art directions in its overall aesthetics and presentation. The character designs have this semi-realistic look, with detailed muscular deformation and rigs alongside exaggerated and stylized proportions, almost out of the principles of romanticism. Contrasting the characters, however, is a heavy display of bright colors and stylistic art, all reminiscent of the graffiti art movement. The modern movement of graffiti originated from the 1960s and 70s in New York City, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. Graffiti is usually defined on a base level as writing or drawings made on a wall or other surface, usually without permission and within public view. Graffiti and its heavy connections with hip-hop culture are at the core of Street Fighter VI's presentation, for it is visible even within the main menus. With a bright display replicating that of RGB lights, paint splashes, a garage-like background, and even graffiti art, there is an immediate street-like feeling given to the player. That same feeling, however, carries over to the character designs, as there is a mix of old and new that is meant to not only elicit the passage of time, but also tries to ground the characters while further enhancing their sense of individuality. This approach is even applied to the characters' key art, as for each of them a unique display of color and style is given to paint and splashes of art around them and their name. While graffiti can be commonly linked to the idea of opposing the norms or even as a form of protest, here the graffiti style is more so used as an avenue for self expression more than anything, a tool, if you will, that gives life and helps to give visual distinction to every character, not only in promotional material, but even in game. May that be with how they utilize the game's universal mechanics, how they highlight their supers to give them that little something, to even their windscreens. As streaks of color and paint accompany the inputs of the player, almost like an artist, you and the other player are creating this display of color and magic in between moments of gameplay, almost connecting back to pop art. The usage of graffiti and hip hop influence in the game's aesthetics and animation almost harkens back to the epicenter of the old Street Fighter plays as well, as the major US scenes back in the arcade days were at places like Chinatown Fair in NYC, or Family Fun and Super Arcade in Los Angeles, to even the many arcades all over Japan. As such, that sort of urban hip hop culture is not foreign to Street Fighter as a franchise, and even amongst its players. For even games like Street Fighter III Third Strike had a similar but unique take on that direction. So, with the graffiti art direction in hand, each animation, move, input, and decision made by the player allows them to express themselves, to not only bring about, in a sense, their own flavor or little something to the game and how they play it, but in a weird way, kind of harkens back to tagging in graffiti in some sense of form, for the player can almost like graffiti artist in some way can cement their place through this mirage of colors, plain splashes, and overall just through some cool and impactful visuals.
I am the true master of the fist.